I got to paint on the live stream. Um, got to get the second coat on. It's late, but it doesn't matter. It's happening. It's getting done. That's all. I think we'll see how it goes with the second coat. It may need three coats. I'm not sure. So anyway, if you're new here, I'm Pam. It's nice to meet you. Also, we're painting with Silk All-in-One Mineral Paint. This is an Anchor. It's a fantastic, fabulous black. I'm going to use what's on the lid first. We always use what's on the lid. And I did not prime, so there is a possibility it might need three coats. You know what? It's covering really well. I think we may be able to get away with two. I'll know when this dries. And you know what? If it needs a third coat, it's really no big deal. Interesting. I don't know. Sometimes I can tell, other times not so much. This is one of those times I won't really be able to tell until it dries down. Oh, and guess what? I have my damp rag that I always tell you to have when you're painting. You need to have a damp rag available to catch your, your oops. We all have them sometimes. It's part of painting. It's part of doing anything. You mess up sometimes, And if you have a rag that's ready to go to what's that? Clean it up, it's a lot easier. So anyway, we've got our rag. We're putting on our anchor. This is two coat coverage black for sure if you prime. I don't always prime. Like this was solid wood piece. Very minimal stain underneath. I did not feel the need to prime, but it depends. And I also wasn't painting like an entire big piece. I feel like this was just the bottom portion, so it really wasn't a big deal. Otherwise, I probably would have primed. But this color black, I adore. It is, to me, a little bit of, I'm just making sure I didn't get anything on there. It's a little bit of a softer black. I'm going to hit that edge twice too. Remember to do that underneath that edge. We want to get the edge. Yeah, it's a little bit, it's like a rich, I don't know how to explain it. It's a rich black, but it's also a bit softer, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not. You know what? I kind of have regrets that I have this tarp down. I didn't swap it. It's got so much primer on it. I don't love to get it all underneath. Okay, let's just, this paint I've found also got something in it to be a little bit self-leveling. So some paint that I've used in the past, I've used General Finishes, their milk paints. It is advertised as self-leveling paint, which is fabulous because you get it on. And even if you're putting it on with a brush, when it dries down, self-leveling paint typically, I'm not sure that this is self-leveling paint, so let's like not quote me there. But in my experience using it, when it dries down, it does dry down. It seems to level itself out and there's not a lot of brush marks, and I absolutely adore that. And I have found that in the past with General Finishes milk paint. I like that stuff, but I do not, it has a very strong odor, and I do not believe it is VOC free. I think it stinks. It does stink, and I don't think it's VOC, no VOCs. This paint is no VOCs. Makes a huge difference when it comes to breathing, um, breathing in a bunch of chemicals or not, you know? Ooh, I forgot. I, I see something that I messed up on. So, first of all, I see a little bit of black right here, so I'm wiping that off. I don't know if that, I'm assuming that was from last night. And on top of it, I did not do the glaze, the paint wash, I mean, not the glaze, underneath on this side. So I completely forgot it. Therefore, I'm going to need to fix it. Probably, I can't tell the way it's drying if it, I think it might need 3 coats. How y'all doing? What's going on? Anything exciting? Just popping in. Um, oh, it's a little messy tonight. I don't know what's going on. I didn't hit this side. This brush is so incredible that even doing like this area that's like recessed a bit, it doesn't even matter. Like it still works great. Remember to paint that underneath edge. Paint the underneath edge. It shows you care. Ugh, it's a messy painting night tonight. Sometimes that happens, you know? Things just get a little messier. Okay, so I have to remember to do the, I keep calling it a glaze. It's not a glaze. The paint wash, which I have a little bit left over. I made up some more the other day to get some underneath here. If you all want to, I forget. I'm not the best at like self-promotion. I have to get a little better at it, honestly. There's people who are fantastic at it, and it's just not been me, but you know, let's work on this. I am on uh, my other Bluetooth wireless things broke, so I'm using my backup trashy one, and it works. I'm on TikTok, so if you want, go follow me on TikTok. I give a lot of tips on furniture painting on TikTok. I have in the past. There's a lot of videos up on there. Also, I'm on Instagram. I'd say that for sure in the past, like I'm active on both, but I put a lot more content up on TikTok, like consistent, regular content. So if you want more, you can go follow me over there. On here, I am making an intentional this year that I'm going to be putting more content up on YouTube. I'm just gonna upload whenever possible. So there are times I have to film um, what I'm doing for work because I do create content as well from that. So, like even this piece, I'm gonna do part of it with you guys, and I'm gonna pop off, and I need to film painting part of it, so I'm gonna do that. But yeah, on TikTok, I do try to give tips and everything. Oh, some messy painting night on how to. Because I feel like, again, when I started out, I thank God for YouTube because I literally looked up so much stuff on YouTube. And the other thing that was helpful when I started out was I communicated, I went into Lowe's and I had gone into Home Depot. This is nothing to, this is no shade for Home Depot. I think Home Depot is a magical place ever since I was a kid when they first opened. I remember going with my dad and thinking it was incredible and the smell of lumber and all the things. But for whatever reason, in their paint department, the couple times that I went in there, it really was not a good experience. So, and then I tried the paints. Tried communicating with the paint guy, told him what I needed and everything, got Behr paint and hated it so much. Like, I don't know if he just helped me get the wrong paint. I don't know, but I was so turned off. I was like, I didn't go back. I was like, nah. Because then I went to Lowe's and talked to a couple different people in their paint department, but one guy in particular. And he was so helpful. And so that's what I needed. I didn't know what I was doing. I needed information on like paintbrushes and like all the stuff. I knew nothing. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty loyal to Lowe's with their paint department. I think they're amazing, and I deeply appreciate the fact that even though they can be busy and different things, they can take the time to answer some of your questions and show you what products to use if you explain the project. They're very good at that. So know that if you need to actually communicate, my experience has been with Lowe's much better um, than some other places. And also, it could just totally depend on your area and who's working there and whatever. You know what I mean? But like, I love Lowe's. At one point, I asked Lowe's on Instagram to like marry me, and they said yes. Like, let's set the date. So, we have a thing. Lowe's and I have a thing. Okay, so um, we're good. She's looking good. Oh, I really do love this paint. Oh, let me see what it looks like. I'm thinking that maybe it's just going to be two coat coverage, which honestly, I'd do a happy dance. A very happy dance if it's just two coat coverage, you know? You know what it is? These little, so what happens is sometimes with paintbrushes, you can't help it. This happens. I like to trim them off. And oh wait, do I have scissors? I do have scissors. If that happens, because what can happen is as you're painting, those little stray bristles are flopping up into the your piece, and that was what was getting it underneath, and I don't want to be dealing with that the whole time. I lied. I'm going to do the back while I'm here because why not? I might as well do it with you guys. I really like the way this piece is turning out. I like the contrast of the light with the dark. I think it's cool. I love black. And you know what? I'm just owning it. And it seems to do well in my area too. Like it's popular enough, depending on the style, that enough people like it and will buy it. So that's good. Oh my God. It's just really messy. It's a little messy. That must be from yesterday. This is dried. Okay, well, I'm going to be touching up the back a bit. That's why I always make sure that I go ahead. That was not for me. That was part of the wood grain. I just go ahead and make sure that I get all the painting done. I look it over really well. There's no touch-ups. There's nothing like that before I seal. You want to 100% make sure you're good before you put sealant on, you know? You don't want to like think that you're good and then come back and have to touch it up. Also, listen, here's the other thing. Let's talk about this. So I'm not set up with a spray booth to be spraying. Like I'm just not, I'm not set up with the space that I have to be doing that. But there are people who do. I have some brilliant friends who spray their pieces and it's magical. You get like a very fine mist, going, and like I think it's magical. And also there's some of us who really enjoy hand painting. So like especially on old pieces, I don't know what it is. I like I'm going over here. I like hand painting. So one isn't necessarily better than the other. It just depends on, you know, what you want. I mean, I have when I first started out, I didn't realize um, when I sold a couple pieces, I had people say, "Oh my gosh, I could see like some brush marks," and I'm thinking like, "Well, yeah, it's hand painted." You know what I mean? Like, of course you're gonna see a few brush marks. So I just disclose if there's a piece that I'm gonna sell that I'm not doing for someone else and I'm actually gonna sell it, I will disclose that I painted it and I put a little bit of the process and I put a little bit of the products that I use. And I tell people, if you have any questions, do ask, But sure, if it's a hand painted piece, you might see some brush marks. That's the whole point, not to be whatever, but like it's not sprayed, it's not from like a manufacturer. And lots of times, I also take great pride in the fact that I source a lot of my pieces to be vintage, like very good quality pieces. Um, and I also take pride in the fact that I I enjoy hand painting them, you know? So don't let that, don't get, a little intimidated by that. Do know that if you're starting out and you're hand painting some stuff, sure, tell people if you want. So then they can decide if that's something they're interested or not. But also, if you know your piece well and you know that it's solid wood and it's vintage quality and all that, like go you, because they're getting a much better quality piece than lots of furniture that you can now purchase from major brand name, like some big names in furniture that are composite that you might pay a premium for. And they're largely pressed board. The glues, I've talked about it before other places, so I'm not going to get into a whole thing unless you want a whole thing. Because then I actually probably it should be a thing because it's important. Other places, so they use like pressed board, and you might say, well, that's no big deal. Okay, the thing is, for our environment, if I can take a piece that was going to be thrown out or that was in a thrift store in very rough conditions, some of it which can't even be fake stained or stained because the condition is so bad and you have to paint. And I'm taking those pieces and I'm keeping them out of a landfill. And I'm doing it also for the sustainability, which I do believe in. I absolutely believe that if you especially have like good quality furniture, or you've inherited good quality furniture from family members, and it's beautiful furniture, but it needs a new look, and you're able to give it a new look and keep that quality and not contribute to more like waste in the world, and we can do that, I am here for that. Totally in on it. Um, and the other thing is the quality. So with a lot of I was shocked. Okay, I'm gonna name names. My family has an Ethan Allen piece. I did the front. Hold on, let me just make sure. We have an Ethan Allen. Okay, so growing up, I had an Ethan Allen, like a little corner dresser. It was like a 3 drawer or 4 drawer small dresser with a hutch on it. One of those things that was like it wasn't my main dresser, but it was like an accent piece. And then I had a desk. So once I got into this furniture stuff, I started paying attention more to what's solid wood, what's not, all the things. I just assumed the Ethan Allen, and if you, those of you who don't know, the price tags on that furniture, it is some gorgeous style furniture. I just assumed Ethan Allen meant interchangeably with solid wood furniture. That's not the case. That desk and the dresser, when I went to move it, I was like, why is this so heavy? Because typically, not always, but sometimes a little tip off for furniture is if it's composite, for some reason, it's just very heavy. Composite also can mean like press board. It can be a combination of like masonite, press board. It's not just the material, those materials, it's also the glues and all the things that they use to bind that together that can off gas for a very extended long time after you bring the furniture into your home. It will continue to off gas, and that off gassing in terms of environmental, when you think about the amount of time we all typically spend in specifically in a bedroom in a home sleeping, like it's a place that we're pretty much in every single day, every night, then that is a area and space we want as clean as possible. And composite furniture is not it. It's just not it. Try to go for, I always tell people I recommend going for your cleanest sleeping bedroom space. Go for metals, go for solid woods, tile, ceramic tile, things that are not going to off gas. Anything that's composite or masonite or even plastics can off gas. And you don't want that in your bedroom space. Also bring some plants in. They clean the air. Bring plants into your home. Highly recommend. Plus for decoration, they're brilliant. And like you get to have something that's cleaning the air and looks incredible, like win-win. Yeah, but Ethan Allen, it was composite, and I was stunned. And then I was like, oh my God, like if Ethan Allen, now this is, furniture back from so many years ago. I don't know what they're doing now, so don't quote me on that. But from furniture that was like, a little bit back in the day, it was composite. And again, this was a brand name that was synonymous with quality. Do you know what I mean? Think about that before you decide. Be very intentional. You can be very intentional about what you bring into your space. And I do recommend intention. I also recommend, which we'll have another conversation about this another time. I recommend having utmost intention before you bring furniture into your space. Think about space if you can, and you can live in the space a bit. Like, say you just moved and you're thinking about getting furniture. See if you can. I'm gonna do this edge. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to. See if you can live in the space a bit prior to purchasing furniture, because you get to see how you're going to use the spaces. Like maybe your guest maybe you have a guest bedroom and you're not sure at the moment. Like maybe it's not going to be an office, maybe it's going to be something else, and you're not exactly sure. I recommend living in the space before you start bringing furniture in to see how the space works for you and what you want to do with it. And that is my recommendation to everyone. The other thing that I recommend is, if possible, if you could bring, I'm not talking about beds, obviously, but other pieces of furniture that you could bring in that are multifunction sorry, I'm bending down now. Multifunction furniture, so they can serve a dual purpose or even more than that. Like this table to me that I'm working on right now. This table is, I'm calling it a console table. It also could be a foyer table, like when you walk in, it's perfect. It could also be a sideboard or a buffet. It could also be used in as a credenza in an office. It technically, if there's enough leg room, depending on the height of the chair, it could also function as a desk, as a credenza, if you need a spot to put your printer. Pieces like this I love because they're not so wide that they take up a lot of space. I love it when they're a little bit more narrow, but yet long enough so where you're getting the function, but they could be used in different spaces. That just makes a lot of sense. Think about that when you're going to bring furniture into your home. Also, don't bring in more than what you think you need. Lots of times, I don't know what it is, like people feel like, you need to have like all of this, a certain thing. Like your dining room, you have to have a full big hutch. You have to have all this stuff. No, maybe you don't. Maybe you want a nice table if you have a big family. Maybe you don't need a ginormous hutch. Maybe you could get away with something like this. You could put some shelves on the wall above it so you have more versatility and you don't have the visual look of this big bulky thing taking up the entire wall in your dining room. Think outside the box a little bit and it can serve you. And then you can move pieces around, like in more than one spot. So it makes sense. So you're investing in something, you're supporting small business, and you're getting quality. You know what I mean? Multi-purpose furniture. It's brilliant. Thanks so much for hanging out. I will see you all soon. Be well and be safe. Subscribe if you want to.